This movie is more than meets the eye.
Must do it now. You must attempt dragon form again.
Hey guys, Aditya here, and this is my review for Transformers 1. So please leave a like, feel free to subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what you think about this movie. Well, now let's get into the review. So when I heard a Transformers animated movie about Megatron and Optimus Prime was gonna release, I was pretty interested. I did not know what to expect, but it was on Cybertron, which is something that we've never seen before. So I was pretty interested from what we're gonna see in this movie. And then after we got the first trailer, I was like, yeah, this seems like a mainly kids movie. I didn't know whether it's gonna be a good movie or not, and had good story, but I was pretty sure that it's gonna be a pretty fun movie. But my expectations were very, very low. And while I was interested, I did not check out the second trailer. So there are some things that I actually did not know and were actually a genuine surprise for me. I did not really know where the story was heading at first. I watched the first trailer a long time ago and completely forgot about it. So I'm gonna say that this movie had many great things about it, like great Transformers lore, great character development, and the Transformers had actual depth and character, which is something we don't really see much in many Transformers movies. And I really enjoyed how this movie explored the friendship between D16 and Orion Pax, as is something that we have never seen from the Transformers movies before, and it's a really great breath of fresh air for the Transformers franchise. And when D16 became Megatron and Orion Pax became Optimus Prime, you knew there was going to be some great intense conflict there between those characters. And this movie handled that perfectly. And while I am a Transformers fan, I didn't know that D16 and Orion Pax were actually friends, because I just watched mainly the movies and some episodes of certain Transformers shows. So I was not fully into Transformers lore. So this movie was a great stepping point for just casual Transformers fans and even new ones. It explained everything we needed to know for this movie, set up a few things which are meant to be mystery, which will probably be continued in the next movies, and overall having great build-up for our main characters. And now moving on to the characterization and the arcs that the main four Transformers go through this movie. So I really loved how this movie showed how Orion Pax grew up as a character, from the immature, reckless Transformer to the leader of the Autobots to the Optimus Prime, and how he earned the title of being the leader, which was very, very well executed in this movie. And alongside that, we saw D16 slowly walking down the path of darkness and becoming Megatron, as he finds out a lot of lies about his planet. And I gotta say that Megatron is probably my favorite character from this movie because of how well done his story is. His story was so well done. He is probably one of the best versions of Megatron, and probably the best Megatron from the Transformers movies ever. Because unlike in the other movies where he's either a sidekick or a tool for another Transformers villain, here he's actually menacing. He has a story, and he just has a huge impact on the plot of the movie. And the voice acting from Brian Tyree Henry, which I will talk about later on, but he just gave life to this character and he just completed the role. Even Bumblebee is excellent in this movie. He's just so charming, and I'm glad that this movie showed and represented that. he was there to bring some laughs, which he definitely did. I also like that there's many gags about B talking a lot, because it's kind of foreshadowing if B loses his voice, he's kind of have to deal with that. So I'm guessing he will lose his voice in the later movies. And now speaking about Elita, which I did not know much about this character before this movie released. Like, I can't even remember the first trailer that I watched, so I didn't even know who Elita was. Like, I thought she was just RC, but no, she's a different character. And according to Google, she's Optimus Prime's love interest. And now I'm also checking out the brand new Netflix show. I'm pretty sure it's like Transformers War Cybertron Siege. And yeah, I can kind of see where that's going. So I think Elita was a pretty fun character, but definitely the least interesting one for me out of the main four. But I just want to say, I feel like it's a really big breath of fresh air that there's no humans in this movie. We're just on Cybertron, seeing how Cybertron is, instead of the usual fetch quest that we see from most Transformers movies. But this movie really showed us how Cybertron works, like how everybody works together, and it's a very unique take on Cybertron, I would say. I think it was pretty well done to show why Optimus and Megatron did certain things to rise up the ranks, to show that they are more than just minor robots, which I really liked how Cybertron played a huge part in this story and how the story moved. Like, Cybertron is a very, very interesting place. I'm glad we're exploring it. Can't wait to explore it more in the future movies, but from what we see now, it is pretty awesome. But now I just want to talk about the voice cast, because I had very, very low expectations of the voice cast. Like, don't get me wrong, I thought Chris Hemsworth, Thor as Optimus Prime was really cool. Like, I genuinely thought it was really cool, but then I thought about it a little bit, then it felt like kind of a Chris Pratt Marty situation, which while he does not sound like Chris Pratt, he does a good job, but does not feel in character. But I'm so happy to report that Chris Hemsworth delivered. Like, he did not just use his normal speaking voice, he changed it up a little bit to make it sound like Optimus Prime. And I think it's a great version of younger Optimus Prime. Like, I knew there's a lot of controversy of Chris Hemsworth being the new voice of Optimus. Like, of course, Peter Cullen, he's the iconic voice for Optimus Prime, but I think Chris Hemsworth did a phenomenal job as a young Optimus. But another highlight is Brian Tyree Henry. Like, I did not know that he was the voice of Miles' father in Into and Across the Spider-Verse, because while watching this movie, you could not know that that was him. Like, he did such an amazing job as Megatron. Like, the voice acting in this movie was absolutely phenomenal, and that was a huge surprise for me. I think that Scarlett Johansson and the voice actor for Bumblebee did a pretty good job as well. But these two are definitely highlights for me. And now I want to talk about the animation, which is a pretty mixed aspect that I've seen from the trailers. Like, it looks so much better than the trailers. Like, it just looks so polished, so different, and just fits the Transformers style, while like feeling very animated, feeling like very 3D-esque, but just very unique and different from anything we've seen before. At first I thought that the mouths on the Transformers looked a little strange, but I didn't really hate it as many people did. But when I watched this movie in theaters, I was genuinely shocked at how I was not distracted by that at all. And it felt really good. Like, the experience watching this movie was really good. Like, we see the dynamic action sequences, the background of Cybertron, the landscape, like the environment of Cybertron, everything just looked so great. And now I just have to talk about the insane action sequences from this movie. Like, they were just so fast-paced, so dynamic, and in my opinion, on par with some of the Michael Bay Transformer action sequences. They were so good. We just followed the characters in the fight sequences, and it just was such a cool experience to see these fight scenes in the theater. Really was attracted to the animation in this movie, and I really think that the animation is a very underrated aspect of this movie. Now moving on to the flaws of this movie, and to be honest, like, isn't much. Like, I think there's one, maybe two minor flaws with this movie. And now the main one is the pacing. Like, the pacing is very fast paced. Like, this movie, like, just takes you on a ride, like a roller coaster. But to many people, like, the pacing might be a little bit too fast, because I feel like in some areas as well, it moves a little bit too fast, but I feel like it's a very minor thing. Like, I think it's because of this, is like making people feel like D16 becoming Megatron was a little bit rushed. But to be honest, I didn't really feel that was the case. Like, the main reason why I feel this is because I didn't want the movie to end. Like, I know that sounds a little bit silly, but I was so interested in what's going to happen next. Like, I was so immersed in the world of Cybertron and interested to know what's going to happen next with these characters. Like, I didn't want this movie to end. Like, I wanted to see more of it. So I really hope that this movie is successful and has a sequel, because I really need to see what happens next. But the biggest flaw with this movie is not actually related to the movie itself. It's actually about the marketing. Like, the trailers make this movie seem as if it's a buddy comedy with buddies going on an adventure. But that's not exactly how this movie is. Like, the trailers are like very comedic. Like, it just makes us feel like another kids movie based off a popular brand. But that's not how this movie is. Like, it stays true to the original lore of Transformers, but adds a new twist to it that makes it stand alone. Like, makes it a great origin story for the Transformers, and it's great for new Transformers fans and old ones. Like, if you're interested in this movie but feel a little bit turned off from the trailers, I cannot recommend this movie enough. Like, even if you're an OG Transformers fan or you're a new Transformers fan who's interested in Transformers and want to know more about the Transformers lore, this is the perfect movie for you. And now, for my conclusion about this movie, my overall thoughts. This movie is a 10 out of 10 for me. Like, it definitely deserves a 10. Like, not only because it's a good movie, like, it has good action, good voice cast, but I think that this is also a great Transformers movie because we explore the Transformers home world. We explore the characters, their emotions, what they feel, and they all go through arcs that make them seem like very human characters. And that is a huge plus for this movie because it explores things that other Transformers movies do not. So this is by far my favorite Transformers movie of all time, dethroning my previous favorite Transformers movie, Transformers 2007. This movie is the perfect Transformers movie, and I really hope that we see a sequel for it. And that's all for this video, guys. Signing off, Aditya from John Magic. See you guys in my next video.